Hey, my wonderful, wonderful, beautiful people. A pleasant morning to you. You know, beautiful people, I just heard one of the best news, I suppose, from a man that I never dreamed I would have heard that from. It was this Afghanistan, fairly young guy. He could be in his, you know, I don't want to guess any age, but I don't think he's probably 40 as yet. You know, could be in his early 30s or maybe a little younger, I don't know, or older. And he said his mother told him, because his mother lived in the United Kingdom, UK, since she was 6 years old. And you know, they're of, I don't want to mix them up, I sort of Indian, Syrian descent, you know, if they're Afghanistan, I don't know. And he said, his mother said, if you should ever, son, get into trouble in any country in the world, be sure to basically, like, you know, to seek a black woman, because she will help you. If a black woman is around, that black woman, by and large, obviously we're not talking 100%, nothing is in its absolute, unless we're talking about God himself and certain principles and teachings of him. But be sure that that black woman would help you. And I started to think on something that is very, you know, way off, that may seemingly be in the negative. Let us say, for example, you know, some of these men who their hands are bloody, and you understand what I mean by that. You know, they have done some seriously wrong things, unalived people, and you will find the black woman washing the clothes, hiding the man, not giving up the information no matter what, and looking as innocent as ever. There is something very protective and caregiving about the black woman. I'm not saying it doesn't happen with other ethnic groups. Don't get me wrong, we know our black issue with black people, as you know, black on black, you know, attacks, verbal attacks, and you know, the reputation attacks and character assassination, you know, seemingly character assassination, because your character is really who you are. Your reputation is what people believe you to be, and they tend to mix up the two, and they're not. People, some of the Pharisees and the Sadducees believe that Jesus had the spirit of Beelzebub, which is the chief of Satan. That they thinking that about him didn't speak to who he was and is. And when I heard that from the Afghanistan man, Syrian sort of Indian man, I said, my God. Because usually how I grew up, you grew up thinking, you know, hearing that these, like the other ethnic groups, they don't trust black people. Black people, obviously, it's the most affected group, you know, the most discriminated against group. You know, the bias is very strong against us. The prejudice is very strong against us. The vitriol, the abuse, the narcissism, especially our black women in comparison to other ethnic groups, were the worst treated. And maybe that contributes to, you know, maybe that sort of loathe that they feel, they end up imploding, meaning they turn on each other. So a black woman sees another black woman, because of the self-hatred, they end up hating on other black women, seeing the negative as opposed to seeing the positive. But I want to encourage you, my black sister, my black female friend, even the ones who take themselves and call themselves enemies, you are beautiful in the sight of God. You are caregivers. There is this tenacity in us, and that is when he said it, you know, I said, you know, that is so true. We tend to safeguard people. If they come, and they come, you know, pious, and they come with a broken and a contrite heart, so to speak, and I said, listen, I really put myself in some difficulty, automatically, generally speaking, the compassion engine turns on. Obviously, we'll have one or two will not necessarily be that way, but there's something in us as a black women. That is why I detest, I abhor, I loathe when we fight against each other, especially when it's without a cause. You just look at a woman and you just get angry, or you feel resentment, and then you use the saying, your spirit can't, your bad spirit that you have can't take the good spirit that the person has. And then don't get me wrong, there are some people that God will just automatically tell you that that spirit is not of me. You know, when they talk about can't pouring, God doesn't pour new wine into old wineskin, or he doesn't pour into dirty vessel. A lot of people assume that he's talking about your fleshly body. If that is the case, nobody can be poured into, because the flesh is imperfect. the flesh is sinful, it means everybody would be a dirty wineskin, if you understand what I mean. No matter how wonderful you are as a human being. It is the spirit that is attached to the individual. And that is why you must have the gift of discernment, so you can discern who is true and who is false, who is for you, who is not for you. Those who are for you and those who are against you. It is not the flesh itself, because God already knows that we were born in sin, shaped in iniquity. You know, the flesh is flawed. So since we understand that it's not good, it's foolhardy for you to use that particular scripture. I think one of them is found in 2 Timothy. I don't remember where the old wineskin one is found, but you know, you can research it. So it's not so much about the fleshly body. If that is the case, everybody would be dirty, and no sort of new, you know, wine would be poured into you. So, you know, the black woman, you see the power of us? We are the most abused, treated poorly, badly by our black brothers predominantly. Yes, maybe the white counterparts and others. I remember a woman, she got married. Was it the Chinese woman or the other way around? Yeah, I think it was a Chinese woman, not that example. I've seen this couple where the woman is black, the husband is Chinese. And anytime you see like you know, like it's the I don't want to say the law. We're not talking the white supremacists, we're not talking the white counterparts now. We're talking other ethnic groups like the Chinese and the Syrians and so on. And when the black woman tends to marry these men, I've heard them say they treat them with honor, they treat them with respect. But our black men, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's the effects of slavery, the hate, the self-hate that is within you, that you end up treating your black woman badly. You know, I remember years ago a friend of mine said this, that she found, she's a sociologist, went all the way up to her PhD. I don't know if she has done postdoctoral studies. That when a man becomes really successful, he tops it off with marrying a white woman or a woman of another ethnic group other from the black woman. And the cries that the black woman is loud and raucous and vulgar, and we use all the negative things. What about the positive? She has your back, she's loyal, she's committed. When you have a committed and loyal black woman, you know, only God himself can move that. Only God himself can move that. She stays loyal, she stays committed, especially if you treat her with honor and respect. She doesn't move so easily. Is the last one to move. The last one to move. Among all the different ethnic groups I've noticed, in general I'm talking now. Stay committed, no move a muscle. Like it just stay. Like cement upon it in the hot sun with gravel and rough sand and water. Doesn't move. Locked down basically like Noah's Ark. And yet we're treated poorly. Black women, you're beautiful, you're brilliant, you're good women. If only you could unlock that box and not allow the vitriol of life, the rancor of life, I call it, to cause you to be hateful towards yourselves and hateful towards your black sisters. Because the very same person who is hateful towards themselves, I don't see them emitting that hate towards other ethnic groups. So it speaks to self-loathing. Because once you love yourself, you're going to naturally, the love is going to ooze towards others. And that is why I can appreciate the scripture that says, love thy neighbor as thyself. The two works in tandem. They have a symbiotic and a necessary relationship. They walk hand in hand actually. So how I treat myself, what I want for myself, what I do to myself, how I look out for myself financially and otherwise, that's how I look out for you. We mirror each other. But black women, you hear what the Afghanistan Syrian sort of Indian man said? If you're ever in trouble, seek that black woman. Because by and large, that black woman will protect you and have your back. Generally speaking, she will. That's how powerful and beautiful and wonderful we are. I appreciate my black, you know, when we were younger, because of how you heard bad things about black, especially based on shade. You know, you used to think differently until you got older. Me love, and let me tell you something. You say the darker your skin is, women, all when you're 100, you look like about 50. You move like about 20. That's the beauty of your blackness. You hear that, black women? They said, if you're going to trust anybody, trust a black woman. That's what the man says. Guys, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Give me a like and subscribe. Thank you very much.